right, welcome guys to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 144 here. Altay joined this week by the only
Omer.
All
You
right.
you always make me feel so special with these intros. The one and the only, huh?
The one and only.
Exactly.
Anyone know that? I remember in Counter-Strike 1.6, there were a lot of like custom sound packs and stuff on certain servers, and one I always loved was when there's one. If you're the only one left on your team alive that round, it just does a sound clip like the one and only. Am I remember that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good times.
So
I've heard that so many times. I'm not even sure where that's from, but probably a song lyric from somewhere.
yeah. Oh, we know it from Counter-Strike, but I'm sure it's from somewhere else. All right.
Of course.
Any housekeeping before we jump into the weekly raid?
I think we jump right into the weekly raid this week. It's a spicy one. It covers something we kind of touched on quite a few times throughout the podcast, and I think it's one where we can look at feedback from the audience as well, because I'm sure a lot of people have strong opinions on this one way or another, or suggestions of their own. So let's get right to it, and then I want to hear your opinion, and I want to hear what people in the chat think as well, because this is a fundamental issue I think with MMORPGs today.
Yeah, and it's a very broad question. Okay, I think it's a very complicated question, and I do want to hear your takes on it, guys. So, how can we make MMO gameplay more meaningful? There are a couple facets to this. I actually came up with different facets. So, in this article, I mentioned something called the running of the gnomes. Okay, so something that we've been doing in MMORPGs for years, right? Because most of the gameplay in MMORPGs, right, unfortunately, is very monotonous. It's very repetitive. Yeah. Doesn't mean it can't be fun. You know, we like a lot of grindy games like MapleStory, so it can be fun, but it's still monotonous, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes players get very creative in the things they do with this monotonous gameplay. So a common, I guess, emergent experience, a gameplay thing players always do in games is they make low-level characters, and they try to race from one end of the world, the starting zone, which is low level, to the high-level areas, right? You want to go through the world with a level 1 character without dying. People have been doing this in WoW, and they called it the running of the gnomes, and last year, Blizzard actually officially recognized it, and it's used in a way to support cancer research. So just like those walks in real life where you give a sponsor for like every mile you walk, they donate like $1 on your behalf. Some organizations, probably Blizzard themselves now, will give some money to cancer research for every level 1 gnome that gets from the starting area to the wherever the finish line is without getting killed. So that's fun. There's a lot of other player activity like that. You can, player created stuff. Sometimes the developers do it. So what do you think? What can we do more stuff like that? Should developers take the lead here? Is it up to us, the players, to figure it out? What's the challenge?
I think, when you talk about meaningful, we're talking a few facets, both in terms of making the gameplay feel more fun, and also stuff like the running of the gnomes. It's a pretty, it's a cool concept. It's a nifty concept, and obviously the whole like walk for cancer, run for cancer, like this idea has been around in the real world for a long time. Like people like feeling rewarded for this. So I think if you incorporate that into the game, whether it's through an event like this or whether it's something else, maybe like every time a particular world boss is down, they'll donate like $1 at the end of the year for cancer research or something. And it doesn't have to be a world boss. It can be every like 10,000 gnomes that are killed, every 10,000 goblins that are killed. I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of money either. At the end of the year, maybe they'll donate a couple $1,000 to charity, or if it's a giant company like Blizzard, maybe like $10,000 or something. And it would make people feel good about themselves. Maybe like at the end of the year, the game will tell you like by playing World of Warcraft, you donate like $3 to cancer research, like of your subscription money went to this,
we can
because
see.
you contributed, this much stuff to this endeavor. It'll make just playing the game almost feel like you're doing something. Like obviously, everybody knows when you're walking for cancer, like your walking isn't actually doing anything. Like somebody's donating on your behalf by making you walk. So it's like this indirect link, which makes you feel good about yourself. I think games can take the lead in that regards.
Yeah, and I think more broadly, when I say meaningful, I don't just mean charity.
Yeah, same.
Meaningful as in like it's you as a player feel involved and like it's exciting, it's new. And I do think it's up to the players to take the lead here. Another example I used is this in EVE Online. These players basically organized an event where one player left, the dock in a capital ship, a very large ship. I'll play the video here while I talk. So they left the dock.
It's Scott Manley here, and if you didn't know,
I gotta mute this shit. Okay, so they left dock with a capital ship, and there were thousands of players, 3,000 players in the beginner ship trying to kill him. So the video is pretty cool. You see like swarms of these little tiny frigates called rifters, and they're all trying to kill. Why isn't this playing?
EVE Online is burning.
Yeah, so they're all trying to kill this one guy. This video is lagging. My internet's been very odd recently.
But I think there's a lot of little things they can do to make the gameplay feel more meaningful, whether it's player run events like that. But I think there's some fundamental design things that need to be built into the game. And the one example that comes to mind, I mean, first I do want to address like the whole. There is something monotonous and grindy about the almost the entire experience in MMORPGs, at least between leveling from like 1 to max level, right? I think once you get to max level and you have all the content unlocked, with like if you're playing WoW, you can do pet battles, you can do mythic raiding, you can do like mount collecting. Like once you get to the end game, the game opens up a lot more. But I feel like that whole process has to be more engaging, and like stuff like server-wide achievements. The one thing that comes to mind for me is the Ahn Qiraj unlock in World of Warcraft, where you had to like mine like a bunch of resources in the game. Like, the whole server had to work towards unlocking the latest raid on Qiraj, and like, there was a tracker on the server that you can see like once everyone has contributed enough, the new area unlocks. So it just made the more monotonous aspects of World of Warcraft feel like you were contributing to this greater purpose. And I thought that was really badass. Everyone was like looking at that counter, and like it made all the bullshit you were doing meaningful. I don't know why we haven't seen that. At least it doesn't come to mind. Like since the days of Ahn Qiraj in World of Warcraft.
And yeah, a few people in chat have been mentioning basically move away from solo content, right? But what you just said is a good example. You can still do solo content and contribute to the server's progress.
Yeah.
With things like this whole Ahn Qiraj, the gates unlocking. So that is a cool concept. So I guess but look, the developer should do more, right, with stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately players got to do more too. It doesn't happen without some initiative by some players. And actually a lot of older games, especially, you see a lot of this. I think we've touched on this maybe a year or more ago, but there's a game Omar and I used to play, very old MMORPG called The Kingdom of the Winds. Nexus, The Kingdom of the Winds. It's actually by Nexon. It was made in like 1997 or something. It's really old.
Old game, yep.
And the way it worked in this game is you had a class system, like a first class, a second class, and I believe the third classes were actually player run. Do you remember something about that?
I don't. It's a blur. I think we were like 12 years old when we played this game.
Yep.
In fact, we played the free trial for like such a long time because we couldn't like afford the subscription. Our parents wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, but this is basically a game where the few remaining players have to be really involved in running like the guilds for the classes. You guys can read more about this, but a lot of MUDs do this too, where they're almost completely player run and player enforced, like the role playing inside the worlds. And in fact, role playing is a huge a way players can be more involved and make the game a little more
Meaningful.
Meaningful, exactly.
But a game has to lend itself to that, either through like really good in-game emotes or like cosmetics or like a world that kind of allows itself to be easily role-played within. You could always force it onto the game, but if the game is not conducive to it, the role-playing is not going to be like well-fostered. A game has to kind of design with that around to a degree.
Sure. And honestly, I hope that more games in the future just don't do away with levels. I think as soon as you introduce levels, like character levels, you're going to have this early game trash versus end game real gameplay. So the only way to get rid of that, I think, is to just get rid of levels.
But the early game doesn't have to be trash, though. Again, like just having persistent
with a level
goals.
system?
Yeah, even with a level system. Like, for example, okay.
I
think achievements was an interesting way to tackle this problem. And we've seen like Steam, like every game in the world has embraced achievements, right? But I thought achievements were cool when they first came out because it gave you something to work towards. But when an achievement becomes something so stupid like launch the game, like it devalues every other achievement in the game. Because like imagine like Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft had like 50 achievements each, and they were just like really hard to get, or like they would be impossible. Right?
If they're hard to get, they're obviously just going to fall in the same pit of being endgame. And then between level 1 to max, you can't do those hard achievements. So
no. You can have achievements at like level 1 even, like how fast you go, maybe like killing like 7 enemies really quickly with it, like at a low level or something. There are ways you can have it structured throughout the entire game. But my point is, when you have stuff like launch the game as an achievement, or you died as an achievement, like it devalues every other achievement. And I don't know how you can even call it an achievement when it's something so brain dead. I mean, you can. It just hurts my soul when achievements are devalued to like literally garbage to anyone that's given to everyone. Like at that point, I stopped looking at achievements when they become that obvious and stupid.
I never really got achievements as like
because they weren't meaningful. If they were somewhat meaningful, it would be interesting, I think. And I mean, collecting achievements would be more of a thing.
They have to come with a reward for me. It could be a small one. Like I think I've talked about this many times as well. Star Wars: The Old Republic had this. I'm sure other games do it too, where scattered around the world in difficult to reach places, whether behind like a powerful optional boss or like a little mini boss or like a jump puzzle, there were these little cubes, and if you opened a cube, you get +1 of a stat permanently. Now
That's
each piece of gear gives like like 50 or 100 of a stat, right? So +1 wasn't that big. There was like 7 stats or 8 stats or something. So if you collect them all, you get like a nice 5% boost maybe, right? But yeah, Datacrons, that's a great feature.
Guild Wars 2 had a pretty good system with completing all the hearts, doing all the everything possible in a single map. You got rewards for doing so. There were sightseeing logs for getting to certain places in the game. Final Fantasy 14 does a few of those, but I think Guild Wars 2 did a lot better. I think Qiraj actually made a great point that getting to level 10 without dying could be a low-level achievement, and that's actually that's a pretty interesting achievement because it's something at least. But that gets so drowned out with you attacked, you killed one enemy, like your first enemy, you killed an enemy. That's not an achievement. That's nothing. That's a big nothing burger. When you reward the nothing burgers, it makes the real achievements, even if they're small, like getting to level 10 without dying, have no meaning.
I do think though Guild Wars is good in the open, like the gameplay world, the maps, right? Like the zones, right? But I think it's overdone in some zones, especially the cities. I remember in Guild Wars 2 when I got to one of the cities, I opened my map and there's literally like 80 things to get to, like those vistas to visit, the places to discover. It's just too much. It feels like an Ubisoft open world game then at that point. Like you open the minimap and there's like so many icons for achievements to get or like things to unlock or like click on that it just I get anxiety. Like I don't want to do it. And then I end up not leaving the town to go back to my questing. I end up not leaving for like 2 hours because I'm literally just running collecting everything. So I guess the best fix would be for that. Don't show them on the map by default. So with Star Wars: The Old Republic, you can't see what the Datacrons are unless you look at a third-party site, right? Or maybe get an Elder Scrolls does this too, but even Elder Scrolls, I feel like there's too many. There's like these little books you can find for like your guild, your side guilds, and then so you unlock these little lore books, and you get like you make progress in your guild, NPC guild. But there's too many of them. Like you open the map with the add-on installed, and there's literally like 100 of them. And sometimes you gotta zoom in to see the difference because they're all stacked on top of each other because there's so many. It's too much. It's overwhelming.
Definitely. And somebody says no, it doesn't matter because MMOs are dead anyway. This is something we've heard quite a few times over the last few years, but I think it's just fundamentally not true. And I want to address this point one more time really quickly. The thing is, in the olden days, like right around when WoW launched, you only had like 6 games. You had Ultima Online, you had EverQuest, you had Dark Age of Camelot, and you had like maybe 2 other games, like Star Wars Galaxies, and then World of Warcraft. Like every MMORPG player was playing these games. Today, it's radically different. The MMORPG market is much more fragmented amongst so many more games. If you add all the players playing MMORPGs today, and like strictly MMORPGs, games like World of Warcraft, games like Final Fantasy 14, games like MapleStory, like actual like strictly MMORPGs. Okay. I think there are more people playing MMORPGs today than there was during the heydays, like back in 2004, 2005, when WoW was like a year after WoW launched. It's so much more diffused. Games like Elder Scrolls Online has a big player base. Games like Star Wars even has some people still playing it today. Final Fantasy 14. If you just add all these up, I think the player base is still bigger. It just, again, there's so much. Back then you had 5 games and all 5 games were hella packed. Now you have 100+ games and each game is like less packed. And people kind of equate that as games being dead, which I think is unfair characterization.
I'd say it's more stagnant than dead because here's the thing. If you're playing WoW already, there's no good reason to switch. If you're playing Final Fantasy already, there's no good reason to switch to WoW because they're so similar, right? But I think the next the next game that comes out, like it won't be Blessed. Blessed might be fun, but it's just more of the same. It might be a little better in some places, a little worse in others, but it's the same blueprint we've been following since 2004, basically. So if you guys want to see the genre come back, I think what people are waiting for is that next game that everyone, whether you're playing Final Fantasy, WoW, Guild Wars, you all want to switch to that new game because it's so like radically better. Like it's a whole like tier up. And now whether we get that or not, I don't know. I can't say if that's gonna happen or not.
I think even with how much shit I say we talk about World of Warcraft in this podcast, with how much casual games they've gotten, maybe it is worth mentioning that I think the casualification of MMORPGs has actually probably been a good thing for the industry.
Yeah.
Like overall, I think it's hard for us to see it from our perspective because I think most of the people in the podcast chat are well above average gamers. I think the people here that follow the industry are interested in playing multiple games and are staying on top of their MMORPGs. I mean, I expect most of us are in the top like 10% of these hardcore on these MMORPGs. I mean, we kind of lose track that like 90% of people that play like WoW probably never complete a single like mythic raid, or will ever even attempt a mythic raid in WoW. We don't know we don't know the rates of clearance of people that participate in these raids. All we know is back in like vanilla WoW, like less than 1% of players even stepped foot in Naxxramas, let alone complete it. So like 0.1% people actually completed that. And I think if MMORPGs remain that hardcore, the industry would probably be smaller. So there is still a positive thing to say about the casualification. The only thing that really upsets me about that is just how much the hardcore experience has kind of been tossed aside in some regards.
Actually, it's kind of unrelated, but to see how little the genre has changed in the past like 15 years. I'm actually planning on pre-ordering Battle for Azeroth, and I will play it for at least a month, just to see what's going on. I
kind of want to as well.
Yeah, you should. Let's see what we can.
I probably will too, actually, because again, I've played a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and my friend talks about mythic raiding in World of Warcraft in my Discord, in one of my Discord chats, and I talked to him about it, and it looks pretty fun. I've seen videos of it too, and it looks like something I would want to try as well. It'll take a little while to get there, but I think I'll probably end up doing it as well, just so I can
it won't
see
take
the
that
end
long.
game rating.
You start with a level 110 character, so you only have 10 levels, all new content. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's important to see where the king is at. I have not played WoW since vanilla, and Omar tried it more recently than me. So I think this is I waited 14 years. Like 12 years, 13 years since my last play. So I really want to see what's changed and if I can get any value.
I think you'll be impressed. I mean, WoW is still the king, I think, of MMORPGs. It's not that Dungeon Fighter Online still has more players and makes more money, mainly because of China and Korea. But like from the Western perspective of games, I think Westerners like World of Warcraft is still number one. I mean, look, as a Final Fantasy 14 fan, I'll still tell you that WoW just has more stuff to do, right? It's got so much more stuff to do. It's got like more pet battles, more mounts, more cosmetic. There's so much shit to do in World of Warcraft. The only reason I'm playing WoW, Final Fantasy 14, is because I've played WoW more recently. I've gotten on my system more. In fact, I would even venture that I'll even go ahead and tell you right now. I think World of Warcraft is a better game. It's a more complete game. There's more stuff to do.
I think it's more. Also, this is totally unrelated, but to actual gameplay. But I think the technology behind WoW is just better optimized. I saw you play like Final Fantasy, and some of the design, the technical decisions they have are just wacky.
The latency is a problem. There's the way the server like registers where you are in a boss fight. Like there'll be a circle that appears on the ground, and when the second that circle disappears, like 2 seconds later, like an explosion will go off, right? So like as long as you're outside that circle, when it disappears, you can run into the explosion, nothing will happen, and it just feels very weird and jarring because like sometimes for optimal DPS, you'll actually be running into fire, into giant explosions, because animations don't actually mean anything. It's the way the circles on the ground work, right?
Oh.
And if they sync that better with the explosions, it would look okay, but it's synced so bizarrely. And yeah, I think that some of the network technology behind Final Fantasy 14 is definitely a bit bizarre, and it just creates for these weird, jarring like visual effects, and has you running the explosions and whatnot. And I don't think you have that nearly as much in World of Warcraft. I think it's more consistent.
I'm also so happy, and I'm going to give Blizzard a huge kudos for including a level boost with every expansion. Right? They don't charge extra for that. Well, Final Fantasy does, which is unfortunate.
And they charge you per expansion. You want story skip. And
story skip is something else cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
And just it's something else. I don't know why they do it. So I do want to emphasize again. I think Final Fantasy 14 has by far the best emotes I've seen in any online game. It wins the emote war, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think in the context of an MMORPG, real talk, I'm going to say half the time spent logging into any MMORPG is sitting on your ass in either Orgrimmar, in Stormwind, in Ironforge, in town, just standing there waiting to organize with other players, just trying to sell shit, trying to relax, just being social. Half the time is spent just standing around when you're playing
and dancing,
any MMORPG, and slash dancing, right? So the emote aspect of a game, I think it gets underplayed how important it actually is. I think it's actually a big part of it. It's got more meaning.
I'm giving that theory more credit just from last week. I was playing Fortnite with a friend who's I don't consider like he's not a huge MMORPG gamer. He's just like he's a Call of Duty bro, let's just say.
Yeah, Call of Duty bro.
Okay, so he's playing. He walks up to me in Fortnite because we're in duos, and he's like, "Hey, Aaron, watch this," and he starts showing off his emotes and dances that he paid money for in Fortnite. And I was like, "Cool, bro. Like congrats. Like, what do you want from me? He's like, isn't that cool? I'm like, I guess. So if he can be convinced to enjoy and buy and like emotes in a shooter where there's much less persistence and community, I guess. If it can happen in Fortnite, and it's definitely a big thing in people's minds, definitely.
And somebody said 50%. MMOs a 50% rating, 50% dancing, AFK in town, and the cosmetic game is so important. We've seen the level of like your friend that buys items in Fortnite. People in League buy skins and stuff too. Like this is such a key part of these games, and people feel like they identify with their character in an MMORPG, and the way you can dress up your character and stuff, and just walk around and do some sick emotes. It's honestly like I get true joy out of emoting in Final Fantasy 14. Just like literal strangers. Like I will literally like while people are talking strats before we begin a raid, I'll walk in front of some random person I've never talked to before. I'll just start spamming my /wave at them, right? My cute as fuck Lalafell character, and they'll look down and there's just more random dances. It just looks cute and it's fun. You know, I actually enjoy it, and I like the way my character looks. It's just mega cute, and it honestly I get 50% enjoyment from completing the raids and getting my gear, and 50% from just like / dancing in town AFK, basically. So it really is there in an MMORPG more so than anything else.
One quick thing before we move on. What you just said reminded me of Star Wars Galaxies, which did actually turn that aspect of the game into an actual feature. There was a subclass called Dancer, an entertainer, and they actually would buff players and heal them and like cure their debuffs by dancing. Exactly. By dancing and waving and blowing kisses to them in the cantinas in town. So that's a great way of incorporating what you just said, the social emo visual, part of the game into the actual gameplay. And you don't see that much, but they captured it so brilliantly. So all those years ago, before WoW came out. Yeah. And we haven't seen much progress. Like I guess you have to rework your whole game, but I could see a world where if the boss kills you too many times, you get a debuff, and you need some kind of soothing interaction in a hot tub. Like if you sit in a hot tub in your house, it cures that debuff. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be cool too. It would give a reason for players to like after a raid, like, okay guys, let's all spend 5 minutes in the hot tub as a group to pass the time to get our debuff gone. It'll force people to interact again outside of the raid.
Yeah. Well, I did mention Lawbreakers. I mentioned Fortnite earlier, and that game is making about $2 million a day on just iOS now.
Insane.
And it's all people buying cosmetic emotes and dances. And speaking of Battle Royale, Omar and I played one with a couple friends in the pregame.
Before we get there, I do want to emphasize again just how, to the degree that people spend farming cosmetics in games like Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, and Final Fantasy 14. Like, almost anyone that plays these games, like a lot of, like, your spare time when you're not, even people that don't raid, people actually, like in Final Fantasy 14, people go back to old content, like really old content, like years old, and they farm it just so you can get like that one drop. There's a mount that drops at the end of every like trial, and in Final Fantasy 14, and like one person will get it if it drops, and they'll just run that like 20 times, and it's pretty easy because it's old content, but they'll spend hours and hours of time just getting that, farming that mount, just so they can get that extra cosmetic for the character. The whole gotta collect them all aspect is the fun part.
WoW does that too, where you have to do this one raid. You can only do once a week, and you got to do it for like a year or two to get like a certain amount.
On average, it'll take you over a year of running because you can only do it once per week. Yeah, I know. Ashes of Alara, the Phoenix mount, for example, you get it from the Outland dungeon. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it had like 1 or 2% drop rate once per week. It was insane.
All right, I want to talk about this now. So in the pregame, we played a game called Radical Heights. So this is by Cliff Bleszinski's Bosskey Studios. They gave up on Lawbreakers, but they surprised the world. Just yesterday, they revealed an announcement trailer for a game called Radical Heights, and they said it's coming out literally a day later. So today was the launch of a game announced just yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I want to play this trailer if it loads. I've been having some internet issues. Not sure why. There we go.
This game was something else. Definitely something else. And then this news and announcement came like shortly after Lawbreakers was officially announced this last week that development for the game is basically stopped. And they said that they weren't going to go free to play and that they're not working on the game anymore. But it's still up as a buy to play game. And that they're focusing their efforts elsewhere. And a few days later, now we know what they've been focusing on.
Yeah, and just when this video came out, this trailer, the dislike to like ratio was telling. So look at this. It's got 1K likes to 3.7 dislikes. So it's the blue bar here is pretty short. And when I saw this trailer, first of all, I'll skip to the gameplay, but the trailer looks awful, right? The character models look terrible. It looks like a shitty Fortnite clone. Very low effort battle royale game. The gameplay is actually worse. The gameplay is worse. It's complete. It's incomplete. The buildings has no textures. It's just like a grid inside the buildings, the walls. It really feels like a very amateur, like middle school project. Everything's janky about it. The physics are awful. You can ride a bike, but you can ride that bike into the ceiling. It's very odd. It makes no sense. I think they embarrassed themselves more by making this. They should have just made Lawbreakers free.
Yeah, in fact, the trailer makes the game look better than it actually is.
Yeah,
because once you get into the game and you experience the bike physics, and you're like riding your bike up walls, and the way the jumping works, your bike will just start floating in the sky. The buildings are literally not finished. So you go into a 3-story building, you land on the roof. First of all, the landing. So it's a battle royale game. 100 players start falling from the sky. You land somewhere. There's no parachute. Your character just slaps on the ground and then does a roll. Like whatever. They didn't program like some kind of landing, some kind of parachute, whatever. I land on a building. I walk in. And all the walls look like grids, like you'd see that from like a Matrix movie. There's just grids, and it's just gray grids, and it's just not finished. Half the houses in the game are designed the same way. There's no furniture, there's no wallpaper, there's no carpets, there's no rugs, there's no like objects in the homes. They're literally just unfinished, and there's like no cosmetics in the game. It's just unbelievably janky, and it feels empty, and it feels soulless. I don't know why they felt the need to rush this out. This is actually like super alpha. Before we even like gave the game a go-ahead, they apparently launched it already. It makes no kind of sense.
Yeah, and people in chat have been saying, yes, this is actually worse than that Horizon Source game we played.
Yeah.
This is worse than that. And
no, it actually is. It's actually worse. And I've played, I think, I'm maybe sad to admit, but if I look at my playtime on Horizon Source, it's going to be at least a few hours. Maybe a bit more. I have 6 hours played on Horizon Source. And look, obviously Horizon, I kind of memed about the game being like the next Fortnite, the next PUBG, but like it was a functional game. Okay, it was stupid, but it was functional. Things worked. This game is just nonsense. It's just bad.
It really makes me wonder, what were they expecting with this? Like, it's free to play, guys. So I do encourage you to try it if you have the time on Steam, just to see like. Remember, this is a well-funded studio. Mr. Cliff Bleszinski does have a successful career. You know, the first half of his career before Lawbreakers. So he's got the money. He's got talent. You know, he's been in the industry a long time. He knows what he's doing. But to see this product leave the gates, and remember, this isn't like a closed beta, right? It is early access, but it's like an open early access. And he's selling founders packs for money. You know, this isn't like a run and gun Kickstarter scam. This, like I said, this guy has a name in the industry. He's like an established guy. It just seems very bizarre that he would put this out there. I don't see what reaction he expected besides just I don't know. I don't know what the goal was here.
I think they were better off. They were better off making Lawbreakers free to play and seeing what they could do with that before they gave it up. I mean, they actually went out of their way to basically say Lawbreakers is never going to go free to play. Basically, we're halting development. It's not going to go free to play. And actually, the reason for it is a bit bizarre. I'm curious what you think about it, Altay. And it says, in fact, these Lawbreakers failed to find enough of an audience to generate the funds necessary to keep it sustained in the manner we had originally planned and anticipated. And while a pivot to free-to-play may seem like the easiest change to make, a change of this magnitude takes publishing, planning, and resources to do it. That just seems like a weird cap-out because their publisher is Nexon. I mean, they have some kind of expertise with free-to-play, and the game already has built-in loot boxes. Like there's already loot boxes in Lawbreakers. So I don't see what they mean by saying it requires planning and publishing and resources to do it. I mean, they spent their remaining resources on making Radical Heights, which just seems like it screams that they're chasing a fad, which is like so sad. Like the Battle Royale fad has been like going on for a while now. We've seen so many games throw themselves at it, including that garbage Sergei Titov one that's free to play, Last Man Standing. And there's been so many throwaway Chinese games chasing the genre. And then this previously respected maybe game designer from America is jumping on this fad just years late, trying to like, hey, I'm still relevant. It reeks of sadness.
I don't mind fads or copying fads. Like, look, Lawbreakers I didn't think was a fun game. But it was like, it was a game. Like it looked good. Like the graphics were good. The walls and like the building, the maps were like sci-fi. It looked good.
Some of the heroes are fun to play. Very side Lawbreakers ran. Like the game it was a hero shooter, but I think only one character felt like fun to play. The character with the repelling and the knives and the melee, that was like a fun character. That was like, whoa, this like you don't see this character in a traditional shooter. But everybody else felt this generic nonsense. Like,
Yeah, it was
really one fun character in that game.
It was certainly generic, but
Yes.
my point is it felt like a game. Like everything worked. It looked good. Like visually, like technically it looked good. It wasn't very inspiring, but it technically looked good. So that's fine. It's fine to copy games and see what works. It's like if someone bakes you a cake and you don't like the flavors they use, but it's baked properly, right? Versus this game, Radical Heights, it's just a blob of dough on your plate. Like it's not finished at all. Like this is like not even early access phase. This is like pre-alpha, alpha phase. Like this is the most incomplete game I've ever seen by any like marginal studio that puts it on Steam.
Yeah, like a real company. Like, if it was dumb, if it was put by like some random indie studio, that's different. But like, these guys has funding, somewhat of a big name behind it, so it's bizarre to see this, as a playable game today.
If I was Steam,
there are better games than Warcraft 3 custom maps. Yeah, I would agree. Skimo Party.
I think Steam should pull this. It's just a joke. Like you said, the buildings are empty. It feels like a total joke. Like it doesn't feel like. And here's the thing: I thought they were going to at least reuse a lot of the environments and effects from Lawbreakers to make this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like why not? Like they have that stuff already, so just reuse it for this setting, right? The walls and stuff for the buildings. But they didn't do that. They did nothing. I don't know.
They even bother opening the ingredients. Like it's a bag of flour. Like and they even opened the bag. It's got the whole bag with it. And it's again, if this is a Chinese knockoff game, I would say it's pretty horrible, right?
Yeah.
Like it would like have like no redeeming features. Again, Horizon Source I thought was just a superior product. And I honestly can't see myself playing like more than 2 rounds of this. And like yes, you can make the whole bullshit early access argument, but people have first impressions mean everything, and if the first impressions are completely unfinished nonsense, people aren't going to play it. But we should talk at least one aspect of the game which I think is different. And we criticize MMOs a lot for this as well, so it kind of applies here, where they are doing one design decision different from other battle royale games, and that's the fact that the game has a persistent currency. So once you land on the game and you start like running around looking for guns, you can also basically punch registers, like cash registers in the game, and you can take money. You can find like stacks, wads of cash in the game, and that cash stays with you permanently. So that cash you get there, like the hundreds of dollars you end up in the game, you can find an ATM machine and deposit it in, or just keep it with you, and you'll drop like I think 10%, 20% of your currency on you when you die, and every currency you have left over once the game ends, it gets added to your persistent wallet, and you can spend that money in game on like random. There's like guns scattered in like ATM machines you can buy like in vending machines. So if you see a gun for like $2,000 in game, you can just buy it like an AWP or something or a sniper, and that takes your persistent currency or the currency you have in game. So any currency you don't spend, you can actually carry with you into the next game. So like you can have eco rounds like in Counter-Strike, and you just play like 5 rounds of just collecting money, just so you can blow it all to the next round and have a better chance of winning. So you can unlock cosmetics this way as well, actually. So you can unlock cosmetics permanently with this currency in game, or just blow all of it on like unlocking weapons. Now, it's going to create this really weird balance because, like I said, equal rounds in a battle royale game are just seem fundamentally stupid. Imagine just jumping into a game, into a busy spot, and like not even looking for weapons, just punching cash registers and taking money, just so you have a better chance of winning. Not this game, but like 4 games from now. It's a really weird design decision. Like, but at least it's different. So at least they're trying something completely different in that regard. So I want to give them some respect for that, because many games never even try. But I don't know how I feel about it just yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I know how I feel. It's garbage.
It's again the persistent current.
No, the persistent breaks the game. Like in the type of game this is, persistent. It's a blatant advantage for certain players at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, again, like I said, because you can just land and instantly use your money to get a really strong weapon in a vending machine, which makes me question why they made it so you can buy weapons. Imagine like if the persistent currency only let you buy cosmetics outside the game, it wouldn't interfere with the gameplay. As a design decision, that's kind of like logical, and it kind of doesn't break the game. But it really the current system has these really bizarre dynamics. But I do think that some of these battle royale games need some more persistence in some regards. But in a way, it doesn't break the game. In a way, it doesn't affect the gameplay. Because for both Fortnite and PUBG have a lot of staying power. I mean, I know people that play these games like 10 hours a day. So the games themselves don't get stale. But I do want to see some kind of persistent progression that doesn't, break the gameplay.
I think Fortnite is the best position for that with their co-op mode, actually. Once they release that and it's integrated.
Save the world?
Yeah, and when it's like, for example, maybe playing Battle Royale gets you some kind of points, unlocks, cosmetics, etc., that you can then carry over to the PvE mode. That I think can add some more persistence to it. But just rewarding players for starting with more money than someone else, it just doesn't make sense to me. That seems like a bad a bad way to add persistence.
And people are complaining about the founders pack as well. You get like 10k cash for it and like bonus cash generation. Which again, if you get extra cash, you can just literally get weapons faster in the game. Because either you scavenge for them or you buy them with in-game cash, and it's going to create this weird pay-to-win dynamic for sure. It's just I don't know, weird. But at least I don't know. I do want to see some other design philosophy changes in Battle Royale and in MMORPGs too. There's got to be something different where they really spice up the design beyond just changing the cosmetics.
Look, I'm gonna give Battle Royale a huge pass here. I mean, look, MMORPGs have been around since WoW came out in 2004, right? Yep. And we're basically still playing WoW clones. Yeah. Battle Royale hit the mainstream with PUBG last year, so it's only been like 1 year and like 5 months, basically 1 year and 4 months for Battle Royale. So for the amount of time it's been given, I think we're gonna see a lot of creativity come out. So I don't think Battle Royale is already doing pretty good. We already got Fortnite, which is the whole building stuff, which I know people don't like, but it's there. It's obviously popular. PUBG's got a different thing going, and PUBG's adding a new map now. It's going to be much smaller, maybe to kind of answer Fortnite with the quicker matches. So I think it's a very creative field right now for the genre.
I just want to see more. But you are right, though. It does feel like we've been playing WoW since 2004. But maybe WoW has perfected the genre. Maybe is there nothing beyond this? Is there nothing beyond the WoW formula?
We're heading. I think the networking especially isn't there yet. But I think it'll get there with Spatial OS, guys. I'm hopeful.
I don't know. Again, this goes back to the previous argument you had that like we've had Battlefield 1942 in like what year did that game come out? We had 64-player, non-laggy online games with vehicles, ships, infantry, all on a single giant map. Arguably those maps were as big as PUBG's map. No, they're probably not. They're way smaller. But still,
I love the fact
they're pretty small though.
So, what was that guy you like? Battle Nonsense, right?
Who does I love his videos. So big shout out to Battle Nonsense.
Yeah, he does a lot of analysis for netcode and stuff. And basically, I learned through him that, and I suspected it before, the Unreal Engine wasn't made to handle more than 64 players in 2018. Whereas Battlefield 1942, when did this come out? This game, Omar and I were playing this. 64 players, vehicles, tanks, airplanes, all in one map,
A big map, a giant map, some of these maps were.
And some, not only was it giant, but there were some choke points in valuable areas where you had, 20 people fighting 20 people at a time. It wasn't as if like it was so big that there was only like one-on-one encounters. No, there was a massive number of people in a small area during certain, parts of the round. 2002, boys.
Which is why I still find it bizarre that every single Battle Royale game that's been coming out has been 100-player max, And even like the only MMORPG that's really pushed the boundary too with like having these large-scale encounters has been Black Desert Online. That created its own bottleneck, which fortunately is being addressed now. But it just make MMORPGs massive again, maybe. Make games massive. I think the whole magic of online, like these online shooting games, these online large-scale games, the large-scale element of it. But we've been constrained to like 100 players or less forever now.
Yeah, and we're struggling for the past year with 100. Unreal Engine apparently is making strides, and you can see that in Fortnite. It is improving. PUBG is also improving. It's not as laggy as it used to be.
Yeah, it's gotten much better. PUBG has definitely gotten a lot better with their netcode and whatnot.
I don't want them to stop at 100. I think there's absolutely no reason why a Battle Royale should stop at 100. Even given the current maps, like the PUBG map, the standard one with the island, that should be 200, 300, 400 people. But obviously, you could split them into separate planes so they come from different angles, right?
Yeah.
So the whole map should be filled with players at the beginning. Every area should be busy because the planes going in different directions. That map can easily hold 500 people, right? It's a huge map. It's a huge map.
The technology is what's restricting it right now.
Yeah.
But there is a Battle Royale game in the works with I think 400 plus players. So I think they presented at GDC, but we'll see where that goes eventually.
Yeah, we shall see.
We just got to get technology up there. Maybe Spatial OS will save us. Who knows?
All right, I got a bit of a controversy if you want.
I love controversies.
So as you guys know, longtime listener, I'm the guy who always defends the trolls, the harassers, the leavers. Okay, all the toxic behavior.
The toxic.
Right?
Altay is pro-toxic.
I'm pro-toxicity. Yes.
He's the toxic party founder.
And you know what? I like to think I'm fighting the good fight. Like ACLU, they always defend the pornographers and the free speech guys. You got to defend people's ability to say things you don't like hearing. Okay? Because they are the line, they're the vanguard that protects all of our freedoms. Okay.
Oh, first it came for the rages and the
exactly.
trolls,
and you think you guys always thought I was being dramatic or not serious, right? Now, Microsoft has decided to change the language on their license agreements for their games and their software. Now, offensive language starting in May, offensive language in a Microsoft game can make you get banned from the game. They can pull your license and they can drain you of all your funds in that service. So, for example, in Skype, if you say something racist to somebody in Skype, that Microsoft can then ban your account and drain your Skype credit. If you
no refund.
No refund. If you say something in Sea of Thieves they don't like, not only can they cut you from the internet part, they can just delete the game from your library
With no refund.
No refund.
Can they really get away with that?
Why not? So it's one thing to stop you from a free game like League. If they ban you in League, make a new account. It can even ban you from the online portion. Like I remember in high school, often I'd get banned. My CD keys would get banned in like games like Diablo or StarCraft for hacking. But you could still play the campaign because back then things were installed locally. Now when games are online, like a service, right? If you lose access to the game, you can't even play the single player, right?
I'm gonna link. They won't get away with that in the EU. There are a lot of pro consumer rights laws in America.
Okay, I don't know about the European Union, guys. I'm talking about America here. I'm gonna link the article. Now, look, to be clear, it's a pretty broad statement they put in there, and they're mainly targeting. We've also clarified the violation of code of conduct through Xbox services, et cetera, et cetera. So here we go. Forfeit of content licenses for Xbox Gold membership time, Microsoft account balances associated with the account. So that's a kicker. You're not only going to lose access to the game, and when I say access, I don't mean the online part again. I mean they're going to literally delete it from your account. All your balances are there too.
Mm-hmm. Yikes. That seems pretty extreme. But look,
this is not extreme. I saw this coming 5 years ago when they first started this shit. This is the inevitable result of trying to stop toxic or trying to control behavior this way for in-game behavior.
You and me have both been on the same side when it comes to most toxicity. I think any game that has a built-in mute feature or blacklist feature, they should never ban for being toxic. Okay, like just saying mean things to you, I don't think it should be a bannable or punishable offense in a game. There's a built-in mute feature, okay? Because anyone can just mute them, problem solved. And if they start putting threats against you, that's different. Like actionable threats against you, they should get banned for that. But I think language it's basically a free-for-all, and I don't think games should enforce that or companies should enforce that. The only thing I disagree with you on your toxicity bit is that throwing games, they should get banned from the game. That's it.
Okay, so it has to include both because clearly if you threaten someone in real life, like to kill them, right? Now that is a crime outside the game, right? My point was everything in the game, right? It says in the game, which includes what you say, using all the allowed features, so no hacking. If the game lets you type and you type something, that should be allowed. And then if the game allows you to run down, middle, and feed, like in League of Legends, if it allows you to do that, if you could click the mouse buttons and it does that, they shouldn't be able to ban you for that. Because if they do, then now they're controlling how you use. They're controlling you in a way that's exactly like this. I don't see a difference between the two.
Okay, but your example is false equivalency and nonsense. Let's say you go to you go to a community center and you play Risk over there. There's a board game of Risk, and there's 5 people playing Risk at a board game, and there's an open seat for you, and you sit down. Anyone's allowed to play, right?
Yeah.
And then while you're in this community center, in the middle of the game, you just take your hand and you just destroy everyone's pieces. You flip the board.
Okay, it's a good example.
You're physically allowed to do this.
No.
The place can kick you out.
No, that's not the same. Because the example you just said, it would be like hacking. Like imagine we're playing StarCraft, right? And I can delete. No, listen, I can delete your buildings by you running a third-party code, right? That's like flipping the Risk board. But now imagine this: we're playing Risk, and I always kill green. Whoever has the green pieces, when I sit down, regardless of my position in the game, regardless of what's good for me to try to win the game, I say I hate green. I'm gonna kill the green player every time, and I do that. Like I suicide my units to the green player, and he gets mad at me. Like, dude, what are you doing? This guy's got Asia. Don't attack me. I'm just because I'm green. That's in the game. It should be allowed.
Okay, so if you go to a basketball court and you fill in, and every time you have the ball, you shoot on your own net every time. And everybody in the court tells you get the fuck out of here. No, should you be allowed to do that?
No. You can party with who you want. You can party with your friends. You can choose not to party with someone. That's separate.
You went to a random game. You basically solo queued. You walk to the basketball court. There's a game going on. They need one more person. And you say I'll play with you guys. Don't worry. And you just keep passing the enemy team, or you keep scoring against yourself. Okay,
now here's the thing. Should those players not allow you to play? Or should some god come down and just throw you out the...
No, the reality is those players beat the shit out of you, but
whatever.
You can't do that in a video game setting.
Well, maybe allow team killing in League or something. That'd be fun.
What? No,
you can all kill him.
still not, you can't get. You don't kill him. Yeah, you kill him.
No.
You kill his account. You know, he loses his account.
My point is the solution should be in the game. Again, we talked about this ad nauseum, but I'm totally for a system of in-game system that deals with punishments for bad performance, poor performance. My only point was it shouldn't be an outside party doing it.
Yeah, sure. What if at the end of that game, 9 players all choose to permanently ban your account, and it's solely under their control, and let's say the game company has no say in it. If they all 9 vote to ban you, should you get banned? It's within the game, right?
Say that again.
Okay, so let's say at the end of a game where you throw the game. Okay. The 9 other players in that game, including your team and the enemy team, all decide they want to punish you. Okay. And they all vote to ban you.
No. But you ban me.
It's within the game.
I'm totally for a kick. Imagine you're playing around a league. You guys 0-10. It should be a team kick where if 4 people vote, he just gets put out. He's disconnected from the game. That's fine.
No, they all vote to ban you from the game. Why not?
What do you ban? Like delete the game from my game computer?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
No. Just you can't log into your account anymore.
No,
it's gone.
That's insane.
The players have been forced to have laid down their judgment.
The judgment has to be in game though. Like they can kick you out of.
It is in game.
No, it's not. It's out of game.
They kick you from rank queues. You can't do that anymore.
What?
They kick you from playing ranked or something.
No, again, they can make it so maybe you start with less gold, right, in your next game. That's okay. That's in game now, right? So next time you queue, you start with less gold.
Ren made a good point. Altay, can you suggest an in-game system that allows me to prevent my teammate from intentionally feeding? Can you name any? Can you design a system that can stop that? Spoilers, you can't, but
I can.
Can you give it your best? Go.
Okay, well, like I said, imagine you have a bad score, right?
Okay.
Now, let's say let's say your teammates vote you as a toxic, right?
Okay.
And then your team loses the game. You lose triple them more.
Okay, but you.
So now you're gonna be so low. Well, sure, but they're not going to meet you again in the game because you're triple hit.
Doesn't matter.
And the rationale most throwers give is because they think the game is over and they want to leave and go to the next game as quickly as possible, right?
Hold on. You've already destroyed the way elo systems work now. So let's say I'm playing with some friends. I'll take the hit, boys, because I'll let you guys keep going. I'll take the hit. So they all vote me as toxic, and I lose. I lose triple the rating, right?
Yeah.
Triple. Guess what? Because I'm still a better player. Now you're artificially lowering my elo to where I don't belong. Now I'm going to stop those players in the lower rating, and they're not going to have fun because you extra punished me for some stupid thing, and I'm going to stop those lower rated games now. Because if you hit me triple punishment and my actual rating is higher, I'm going to statistically win those games and let my friends, Okay. You're destroying the matchmaking balance even more by doing what you're saying.
First of all, I put no weight in balance. That's number one. Balance. Games about fun, not balance. That's one. So, but again, if you want to go into the minutiae, like the side effects of each thing,
there's no solution to the
I
problem.
think there's a solution. Anyway, the solution is I'm going to tell you the solution. As long as if you allow them to do what you're saying, what they're currently doing, we're going to get this. And I have another Ren. I have another. I have a good point for you. I'm going to link here. So, as we all know, League is the king of cuck gaming right now in America, where they ban you for being toxic. If you say something racist or feed or whatever, right? You get banned.
Sure.
Now, that's only on the North American server and the European server. There's a big thread. You guys can look this up yourself. But in the Korean servers, they don't do that. In Korean servers, you can run down mid. You can feed. You can AFK. Even Masters Division, people AFK all the time. Every round or every couple rounds, you're gonna hit people that AFK and feed on purpose on the Korean server. And guess what? The Korean server, the players there are much better than American servers players. So clearly, this does not inhibit. In fact, if anything, if we copy what they do in Korea here, where we stop banning people for feeding or leaving or AFKing, we'd get better players, not worse.
No. You're making a connection where one doesn't exist. Okay. Arguably they're what makes Korean players better at League of Legends isn't the fact that they're allowed to be toxic, where there's less punishment for toxicity.
I think so. I think it's part of it.
Based on what? What about the fact that the professional league players aren't allowed to have girlfriends and they're required to play 14 hours a day?
I'm not talking about professional. I'm talking about the queue. I'm talking about solo queue. The average solo queue player is better in Korea in each bracket than the equivalent bracket in America.
Because they play longer. The culture of Korean gaming, they just play more games. They play more hours per day on average. So is that a surprise that they're better?
No,
it has nothing to do with toxicity.
Look, if you're playing to win, right, then you should be for leaving and feeding and ending the game quickly. If you're just playing to whack each other off, then you want to play out a game that's like 0-10.
What are you talking about?
Look, if a game is 0-10 or 0-20, right? Sure. Why? It's a waste to keep playing it.
If you can convince 3 other teammates of that same equation, you're fine. The game ends. You surrender.
You can't surrender for what? 20 minutes?
Yeah.
20 minutes. So what do you waste 20 minutes?
Is it 20 or I think it's 15. At 15, if you have 5 out of 5, you can surrender. At 20 with 4 out of 5, you can surrender. Something like that. Whatever. Just convince 3 of your other teammates or everyone at 15 minutes to surrender, and problem's over. There's no solution. Clearly, the problem exists when other people disagree with your assessment.
Hold up.
The game is over.
I'm not. Can I actually say I'm changing the goalpost? What do you mean by that? And also, Ren, no, Altay, cultures. Yeah, I agree. The culture.
That's what makes them better at the game, not the fact that they're allowed to be toxic.
No, listen,
I don't see that connection.
I agree. The culture that Omar and I grew up in, right, was also first of all to be a good player, to be good at anything, you got to be aggressive. Okay, you can't if someone talking bad to you, like making fun of you or calling you like whatever, if that tilts you or like makes you sad, you're not going to be a good player. That's just end of the story, right? So the fact that this kind of behavior isn't is punished here and not there, I think is a sign that they are more tough-skinned. Can we at least agree on that?
Hypothetically, I'm going to ask you then. If let's say in America it was a free-for-all, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Let's say there was no banning for toxicity, and the Korean version, it was the opposite. Now, anytime you would say something mean, you get banned, right? Would you be advocating in Korea, and they had better results? Would you be advocating for American servers to start adopting the Korean policy of banning anyone that says any bad words? No, because that goes against the narrative that you like in your own head.
No, but no. This is just proof that I didn't know.
You made a connection. And now I'm asking you if it was roles reversed, would you still support? You know, because you're saying
I wouldn't support it for if your goal is to make better players, like make more efficient players. No, I wouldn't support that.
Okay, so
I have two defenses.
This has nothing to do with the Korean players being better because they're allowed to be toxic. It has nothing to do with that. No, it's about you just want people to be toxic and not.
I want people to be toxic because I believe in free speech. Okay, that's one. Okay.
Okay.
Now. It also, I just learned this week that it also happens to lead to better players. So it's like a double whammy.
But it does how are you drawing that connection? Correlation and causation. It doesn't mean they could be better despite that. And arguably,
despite that,
creating, hypothetically, if let's say they enforced people that the toxic, let's say they got banned, and that led to players actually being better. It's possible that they're doing better despite this. I'm not saying.
It's possible. It's possible.
We don't know.
It's possible.
Why are you drawing a conclusion that we don't know? We don't know exists. Maybe they're better because in Korea they eat more kimchi, and kimchi is why they're actually better. That's an equally valid statement. In America they eat less kimchi.
Can we at least admit
that?
Okay, can we at least admit that League is much bigger in Korea? League is much bigger in Korea than here, right?
Sure.
So clearly it's not a major inhibition to it. This toxicity or leaving stuff.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't see. I think I'll try this. The reason the toxicity is a big deal in America is entirely political. It's people who hate our freedoms, right? In America,
they hate our freedoms.
Yes, they hate our freedoms, and they're trying to socially control.
They wake up and they scream, "I hate freedom."
They're being manipulated by people who hate freedom. Yes.
They're being manipulated by people who hate freedom.
And their goal
is commies in the shadows in smoke-filled rooms.
No, here's what I'm trying to say: the people at Riot who care about toxicity, right, trying to stop it. They're not motivated by making a good game. They're motivated by like social justice, feminism, racism. That's what's motivating their activities.
I think this is going off the deep end. I don't know. Like, what makes you think this is true? I'm curious. Has anyone at Riot on their personal blog talked about this or Twitter account? They talked about this.
The markets where League is doing the best, nobody cares about people leaving and stuff. It's a part of the game. It's fun.
But where is the correlation between people being good at the game and this?
Forget them being good at the game. I'm talking about the popularity of the game now.
Because popularity of the game.
Okay. It's big in Korea, right? League.
But you guys forget gaming is bigger in Korea, not League.
But League is also. League.
Video games are bigger in Korea than they are in America. The average person plays more video games in Korea. And obviously, League is the biggest PC game in both countries.
Okay. The way you're framing this, I can never prove anything to you. Because everything is... How can I prove this to you, then? What would you need to hear? I'm already telling you, it's more popular. It makes more money in Korea per capita. They're better players than us. Because
nothing you're saying is irrelevant to League of Legends. Or this policy in particular. What you're telling me is that video games in Korea are bigger. League is the biggest video game in both countries. More people in Korea play League. Yeah, I agree with all that, but I don't see the correlation.
So then why are we stopping to... Why are we banning people for feeding here? Or for being racist or whatever in chat? Why are we banning people for that?
Also, for the record, the thread, there's, I don't speak Korean. I don't get a good... I have not seen Korean players play, so I don't know if everything this guy is saying is true. Look, ultimately, this whole argument on the League subreddit emerged from somebody being banned in Korea. Apparently, a self-admitted toxic player got banned in Korea, okay? He admits he was toxic. And his only defense is basically saying, other people were more toxic than me, and they should have been banned too. But the thing is, he streams. So he's advertising his toxicity, and he got banned for it. He got actually banned for account sharing.
I'm not talking about this guy in particular. You guys Google it yourself if you're into League at all, and you will find.
I found this thread, and this guy's evidence is that he got banned for doing something wrong. And his defense is people are doing worse than me. They should be banned. Look, I don't think either of us can get a good grasp on this either way.
Okay, now let me go back. Someone in chat said something like this. Are you trying to defend people's right to be an asshole or something, right? Ultimately, yes, because that's a difference between our civilization and the Asian civilizations and Russian like in America, unfortunately, having the right to say, fuck Trump, fuck the president, also means I can walk up to a granny on the street and say, haha, granny, you're old and nasty, go die. I can say that, okay, on the street for the same reason I can say that to Trump, to fuck Trump, go die, Trump. In most countries, in most civilizations across history, and even today, you can't do those things because they don't. Yes, it's bad that you can make fun of grannies on the street, right? But that is the price we pay for our political freedoms, okay? And if you take one away, you will not immediately, but eventually lose the other. That's what.
Do you think, in a private business or in a private residence, these rules of like society where you have free speech doesn't apply to private businesses? If you're in a restaurant, they can kick you out for saying bad words. It's their business. They can say, get the fuck out of here. That falls into their freedom as well. Riot is their own business. They can force the rules the way they want.
This is not a legal argument. I agree.
Okay,
Legally,
okay.
they can, and just like Microsoft can. If I say to you Skype, you stupid Turk. I mean, Microsoft is in their right to drain my account and ban me on Skype. Yeah.
If you have a restaurant, okay, and then some guy walks in and goes to like your black customers and stops dropping the N-word on them. As the proprietor of the restaurant, are you going to say, congratulations, sir, on exercising your free speech. Here's a free entree for you. No, you get the fuck out of here.
Okay,
This
sure.
is bad for business.
Yeah, okay. I get.
You know what else?
Whoa.
You know what else is bad for business?
No, it's not. We just clear. It's bigger. It's bigger in Korea than America per capita. We clearly demonstrated it has no effect on business. In fact, if anything,
Can you relate this to toxicity or no?
What? Because it's obviously not a stumbling block. Otherwise, it would be in Korea. That's my example.
It could be. It could be actually.
So why is the burden on me? You have to prove to me that your intervention is good for the business then. Because everywhere else it seems to be fine.
You've made a claim with no evidence.
No, I have evidence.
Can you prove to me that the Korean players are clearly better because they eat more kimchi than American players? If the American players ate as much kimchi as the Koreans did, they'd be just as good. Now, is it burden of proof on you to prove this statement, or is it on me to prove this correlation?
No,
who's the proof on? You or me?
No, you're the one trying to make.
You made a ridiculous claim, and I want to see.
It's not a ridiculous. How's it a ridiculous claim? Oh, we have the same game.
Equals better players.
No.
Was your claim?
Forget that claim. I'm not talking about that right now. Okay. Clearly, not banning toxic players is not a stumbling block in Korea for the success of the game. Now, you could theoretically you could say, well, it could be 10 times more popular if they did do that, right?
Wait, what do you mean it's not stumbling block? Are you saying that if they ban more players, if they enforce toxicity rules, are you telling me there's guaranteed less people to play the game? Like, what do you base it on?
No.
Arguably, they could have more players if they did that stuff.
Yes, you could argue it.
You don't know.
You could. Yeah, I don't
You're
know.
You're saying as if definitively.
You don't. No, I'm not saying.
It's not a stumbling block.
It's not.
It might be. We don't know.
It might be. Yes, but as we can see currently, it's not a stumbling block because we would see the results if it was.
I don't know.
No, I'm not saying like if you allow feeding, all of a sudden a league will double in popularity in America. I'm not saying that. I'm saying clearly it's not a stumbling block as we can see in the Korean versus American servers.
I just don't see the correlation there, the causation there. I'm not drawing the parallel that you're drawing in your mind.
Really?
Look, I agree. I still agree that in games like League, in every MMORPG, in every online game, saying mean things should never be banned because you can just mute people. And every game gives you the option to do that.
You know what's amazing to me? We've been through this. As when we were younger, there wasn't these you couldn't get banned, right? In StarCraft, we played custom games, right? And Warcraft, we played custom games where we continuously trolled people, left games, and for some reason, like, here's the thing. Here's what I don't get. Omar and I would play custom games like in StarCraft, right, or Warcraft 3,
yep.
Like a tower defense or something, right, or like a hero defense, whatever it was. And sometimes we get bored 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, and we decide to TK our teammates and ruin the game for them, and the game would just end. And that was 30, 40 minutes that they lost. Now, that's no different than losing a 30, 40-minute ranked League game. That's no different. It's still 30, 40 minutes.
It actually is.
How is it different? Because some numbers on a screen go down, like the MMR?
Because games like CSGO and stuff tell you every time you queue up, warning, you are queuing up for a ranked 90-minute game. You are not allowed to leave this game, otherwise you will be banned. Warning. Guess what? If I played Warcraft 3 or StarCraft and I joined the custom game and the game gave an official warning that if I do all this shit I'm gonna get banned, Guess what? I wouldn't have done it.
Okay, it's death by a thousand.
That's the difference.
Hold
The rules are different. The rules in chess and basketball are not the same.
The rules follow the changes in culture. So I agree that those are the rules currently in League and Dota and Counter-Strike. My point is this road will lead us to that Microsoft story where we will be banned. We're going to get banned from Twitch. You can if you don't conform to what they say, their behavior that they want, you will be deplatformed, right? From everything. It's going to get
No.
I suggest you guys read about this. It is dystopian. China social credit system. Everyone Google this. This is coming to America, and gaming is obviously high tech. Right? I'd argue that young people who game are at the edge of technology, right? So we're gonna see it here first, but it's gonna filter down. So basically, in China, the way it works is if you are friends with someone who's like goes to a protest, right? In China, like he goes down with the Communist Party, whatever. Assuming he doesn't get shot, but if you're friends with them on like a social network, your social credit will go down. So when you get a bank loan or you're trying to like apply to university, you're gonna get rejected, or your number's gonna go down. So your numbers, so you have to defriend them or not associate with them. They're gonna control our social behavior, our thoughts, our political opinions. Okay, and they're gonna get us started on gaming, young, 12 years old. There you go. The start of it.
Boom. Again, I don't think we're going that angle, and I think you're exaggerating a little bit. But again, on the toxicity part, I'm with you on throwing games. Once again, as previous podcasts, I have to simply disagree. But let's take it. Maybe we should steer clear of this conversation and take it to a more lighthearted topic. This last week, MapleStory 2 got another bit of confirmation, indirect confirmation. Basically, Nexon posted a job posting on their official website for a localization coordinator, which, again, makes me think that we're going to hear a MapleStory 2 announcement on April 14th, which is during MapleStory Fest. So another bit of evidence that kind of leads me there. Honestly, at this point, I think if we don't get MapleStory 2 on April 14th during MapleStory Fest, I don't think it's going to happen for a long time. But I think that's the date. I think we have a greater than 50% chance of having the announcement finally happening. With both this news and the news last week and everything that's kind of led up to now, I think MapleStory 2 is right around the corner. And from what I've seen about the game, I'm hoping it'll do well in America. And I mean, it could be a good mobile game too, actually, if they can port that on there. But yeah, I'm kind of hyped for MapleStory 2. Much more hyped for that than I am for Radical Heights.
Radical Heights. Yeah, this is. I think this will be a game that does. And I know you said this before as well. It will do better in the West, I suspect, than it did in Asia.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's got the whole Netflix, the Minecraft, Bubblecraft vibe to it.
But again, this is with how stale the MMORPG genre has been. Again, I do think MapleStory 2 and like the approach they've taken with it is a breath of fresh air. And I know that's a very generic term that people use for like every new game. But no, it just isn't like, it doesn't follow the same formula of everything else. You know, there's so much more in this game than just going outside town and killing enemies. You know, that's like the formula we've seen. Whether it's Rift, whether it's Guild Wars 2, whether it's arcades, whether it's World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14. There's other stuff in this game that encompasses the core gameplay than just killing enemies outside town. So the creative element, the persistent housing, the Animal Crossing like item system. There's a lot of little things in MapleStory 2. I mean, the game looks really silly, obviously, and you know. And that's actually the cutest video possible in the background. I absolutely love that video. But I like that they're doing something different, and I think I just want to see more real games try something different.
My only when I think of MapleStory 2, I think of something that I thought would be fixed by now. So years ago we saw games like Blade and Soul take like years to come to America, right? Like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's so and I thought that over the time that gap would narrow, right, between the Asian release and then the global release. But games like MapleStory 2 are showing that somehow we haven't really cracked that nut yet.
We have to a degree, because you look at where Black Desert Online is in South Korea and where it is in America, it's not like too far apart. Whereas you have games like MapleStory 2, which essentially the Korean version and the Chinese version are really acting as like alpha tests for maybe like the American version. Because clearly what they did in South Korea and China actually just launched, is doing pretty well. What they tried in South Korea just didn't really work. And they didn't give up on the game. And maybe they're launching in America when they have a more complete product. So it's a little bit different with MapleStory 2. With Blade and Soul, honestly, I'm not sure what happened over there, because it was a massive gap of like 3-4 years, something crazy. But with Black Desert Online, I think the gap is a bit smaller because the game does really, really well in America. But with other games, if you look at Closers, they just launched a new hero. I think it's the first new character that was added to the American version of Closers. The Korean version, I think, has like at least 4 more heroes in the game than the American version does. So it's definitely, the gap is still there for a lot of games. But for the popular games, I think the gap will definitely get more and more narrow.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I wonder if it's worth doing a little bit of actual reporting, and actually going back, let's say 10 years, and finding out and charting the release date in the home market, whether it's Korea, Japan, or China, and seeing how long the global release is, and then seeing every year if that gap is on average narrowing or not.
It's tough because a lot of games, I think when they launch in China or like Korea, like they don't know if they want to launch in America, right? And the only chance of launching in America might be if the game does really well in its home market. Like I'm sure there's like
we'll only count games that do eventually launch here. So the ones that never launch here will obviously not be in the data set.
Yeah, but even still, like a game, it might take a while for that game to reach critical mass in its home market before they even consider licensing it outside. Like, because oftentimes a different company licenses it, and they're not going to license it unless it's doing really well in its home market. So I think there's a lot more, moving pieces here than we can just easily plot out and definitively say. But somebody asked, what was it? Why are they now just hiring these people? I think we'll get the announcement for this, but I think the game is still not going to launch in America for probably another year. I think we're going to get an announcement on April 14th. That's just, again, my theory based on what I've read, what they're hiring, what we've heard about from the CEO on previous earnings calls. That's the vibe I'm getting. We're going to hear an announcement on the 14th, which will be coming up real soon.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I haven't played this since I played with you. So when we did, I think we check this every week. We mentioned it, but I'm gonna check when we uploaded this.
Grand Fest video.
You did the first look. Oh, June 16th. Not only a year ago. I thought we did it. Before that.
It's been almost a year since we last played, and obviously playing we played the Korean version, and it's definitely still a little bit wonky to play because of the English patch wasn't perfect, and the biggest problem with the English patch was that like some quests would literally just not work if the English patch is enabled. So you have to actually once in a while you have to actually close the game, turn off the English patch, otherwise like the quest locations aren't even there. It interferes with the game files, so which makes it very difficult you can still play if you know where those problems lie, but it'd be very frustrating if you don't know where the problems are.
Okay, a quick bit of housekeeping. So we still haven't got around to playing Final Fantasy 11. Like we said, we still want. I did pay for another month of that game, so nice. We will be doing a stream for it because I got to get my money's worth.
You're in for a treat. I actually really want to talk to you. Like, your reactions on that game will be quite spicy with how poor the game plays today. In 2018, how unapproachable it is.
I also wanted to add Ultima Online actually released an official free-to-play version or account tier, I should say. So maybe we can revisit that too, the official server one day, and try that too. Bring back Throwback Thursday, but for MMOs,
But yeah, both those games are unapproachable. I wouldn't recommend anyone go back. I mean, if you never played Ultima Online, don't rush to play it because you're not going to like it. It's still my favorite MMORPG, though arguably the current version sucks. I mean, I've played private servers of like old content in that game a lot, and I still love it. But even that and the current version, I would say steer clear of Ultima Online and Final Fantasy 11 if you never played either growing up, because there is nothing there for you. Those games will not, attract new players, and in fact, you will hate them. I know you will hate them. Just don't play them. But having grown up playing them, I'm gonna go back and try the official servers. We should talk a little about Bless too, because that's probably one of the most hyped games in the meanwhile. They just released another like developer journal on Steam, which I put up on MMOs.com. I basically copied and pasted the changes between the original Korean version and the Steam changes. So maybe I don't know how you're gonna feel about this Altay, because we talked about this before. They are doing some kind of changes to the combat system. They're calling it rhythmic combat. It's gonna be more action oriented and a bit faster paced, which is weird because the original game wasn't designed with that in mind. But I think they implement it well. It can make the combat feel a little more exciting.
Rhythmic combat. That's a good marketing term,
Yeah, because they didn't want to say action combat, because action combat implies like Terra or Blade and Soul, style combat, which I think is a whole rebuild of the game from the ground up. But if you can make it, a little faster pace while still keeping it kind of tab targeted, you can call it something different and have a nice marketing term for it.
Honestly, as far as the combat is concerned, they should have just stuck with their guns. I mean, someone chats on something. The combat rework broke the classes, and they still need more work. Like that's inevitable. If you build the game with certain gameplay mechanics in place, and then 3 or 4 years later say I'm going to change the combat, it's gonna mess things up in ways that you can't predict, as you progress in the game. So that's odd. I'm still going to try this one, and there's a lot of hype for this one, and I think it might be worth creating a channel for this game actually on MMOs Discord. Maybe we can all on launch day, go in together. That's honestly the most fun in any experience. So
is the launch fun.
I know it's going to cost money, guys. I know, but I think
we'll try to hook you guys up with some
as many as we can get. As many as we can get.
By the way, if you're into that reminds me, if you're into the Twitch chat right now, I have a few copies of Battle Right to give away. Copies of the game that include all the heroes, like $30 bundle. So if you play Battle Right, hang out on in the post game. I'll give those away. Should be spicy.
Yep.
I mean, I love the fact this is the one thing that's funny about their page. Like, every company goes out of their way to say this, that we're gonna have fair monetization, like user friendly monetization. There will be no pay to win. Like, there isn't a single company that says, you know what, we thought it over and we want to be pay to win. Nobody says that, which is weird because these guys go out of their way saying we will have no pay to win on the Steam version of Blessed, and that's why we're about to play. But we've seen Black Desert say the same things, and years later just go a full 180 on their word. And what they say today may not be what's going to happen later. But regardless, I'm going to go into it, with I always go into it with skeptical on what they'll do in the cash up later. But that's not going to stop me from playing the game and having fun with it.
I got a funny insight for this. Not insight, but comment. So, does anyone seriously take anything a developer or publisher says about their monetization seriously before the game comes out?
Great question.
Not to name anyone, but someone messaged me I think a couple days ago, like, "Oh, did you read what they said about what Newell said about their they're not being paid to win?" I'm like, "No, I didn't read that because nothing they say now has any value because they're going to say that. Like, they're not going to say, well, our game is really going to screw you if you don't pay us. Like, no one's going to say that. So I don't see the value in even paying attention to their press releases regarding the monetization until the game is out, and then you can see for yourself what it's like. So I don't know.
Though it is worth mentioning, NeoWiz, as Ren pointed out, NeoWiz's only game really in the West right now is Black Squad, and they do actually have probably the best monetization of a Korean lobby shooter I've seen. Basically, you get any weapon permanently pretty easily in that game, and paying doesn't really give you an advantage either. But then again, I think balancing the cash up around MOBAs and FPS games are usually never as controversial as MMORPGs, because there are really strict expectations in an FPS game or a MOBA, where only some Chinese companies try pushing the envelope in monetization in a MOBA. Basically all MOBAs they don't want to have a system where you can pay to just get stronger. You can unlock heroes faster if you pay, but paying for just an objectively stronger character isn't going to fly in basically any MOBA. And then the same thing applies to shooters to a degree. So it's easier to kind of make it not pay to win.
I'm actually reading this article you put up, and I know you copied and pasted the official.
Yeah.
So
the translations are a little funny.
User-friendly monetization. Everyone will love our in-game shops.
Yeah, I read that. I'm like, should I keep that in there? I'm like, fuck it, I'll keep it in there because it just sounds silly.
Guys, you hear that? You're gonna love it. All right?
Everyone's gonna love.
It's like a Trump. It's I can just envision Trump saying this.
Everyone's gonna love it, guys.
Believe me, not pay to win. Believe me.
I like Chaos Shield's comment. I buy a game that flat out just says, yeah, our game is pay to win as fuck. I can respect that if some developer comes out and just says it like that. Just calls it. The audacity on that would be great. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play it too. And have we played the Russian version? I had fun with the difficulty early on, and we'll see how it goes. And supposedly again a lot of changes for this game. This is still one of the higher budget games as well. I think we covered it on our list of most expensive games developed. They spent over $60 million on this game. Actually, that kind of reminds me. There's another game that they spent a shit ton of money on that's still not out yet. I think it was Kingdom Under Fire 2. That was one of the most expensive MMORPGs ever developed, and I don't think it's gone anywhere.
I haven't heard about that for a long time.
We talked about it since I did a first look video for it, somewhat recently. I think on the Southeast Asian version, but it's gone a solid nowhere.
10 months ago, you put up a first look. Oh, the graphics look pretty good. This character, I like the way this video starts. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean that game had it cost a lot of money to develop apparently, but they actually had a release schedule I think for the all the versions, with the Russian version coming out first, and then they're going to hit up Europe and America. But I forgot what the release schedule. I mean, it's been a while. It's actually been over a year since we started covering that game. Oof, yeah, we haven't heard anything about it in a while.
Oh man, good luck with this. This is not happening. Just looking at this this battle scene here.
The battle scene actually looked way cooler than the rest of the game because like once you're done with this battle scene tutorial, you're back to like go kill 10 wolves. You're back to the usual spiel.
Yeah, you know what's funny? A lot of games do this now. They start you off really strong, or even if you're not strong, they put you in a scene like this, right? Where like
it makes you look badass as fuck. Yeah. I know.
And like 10 minutes later, you're literally killing like rabbits, like in this like peasant town, like with 2 huts.
Yeah. That's what's
a lot of games do this.
Because this scene, like, it was weird because they have so many characters on the screen. Like that was one of their things that we could fit like 1,000 characters in the screen, and there's no lag, right? But like they're NPCs, so it's not really the same thing. Because like the network, like when there's actual players on the screen, it's not going to run smoothly because the networking infrastructure is so different of NPCs versus people. But this scene was badass. The game, they said they were aiming for like a Russian release. Then like a year later, they're going to be a PS4 release in America or something. But this was a year ago. Nothing's happened. So I'm kind of, I guess, losing hope on this one.
Yep.
I imagine most people just completely like forgot this game existed, even if they heard of it. Because I actually completely forgot till I remember how much money it cost to make Bless.
I think the company to watch is going to be not NeoWiz or anything, but Pearl Abyss. They have a beautiful engine in place, and they're going to make more games. They're working on more games with that engine.
Speaking of Pearl Abyss, they hired the guy, the co-creator of Counter-Strike. Altay.
Yeah,
you hear about that?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it last time, right?
Did I? He made Tactical Intervention. Now he's working on an unannounced project at Bluehole. Not Bluehole, but Pearl Abyss.
Pearl Abyss. I think a lobby-based shooter from them will be the Trump one. Like, we're seeing a lot of progress in this lobby-based shooter world.
Black Squad is killing it.
But Ironside is also really good.
Yeah. That game has really good netcode, by the way. I recommend watching the Battle Nonsense video on Ironside's netcode. It's quite impressive.
Yep. So it looks like a lot of genres are in up and up this year. Hopefully some of these Kickstarter games hit the market.
I liked Haru's comment. Game logic. So you killed this colossal titan, right? Okay, now go kill 10 wolves. That's actually literally what happens, Haru. That's like exactly what happens if you scroll like towards the end of the video. Because once you're done with this cool tutorial zone, it goes back to like these very tried and true.
Oh, here it is, the peasant town I was talking about.
Like, I'm literally killing waves of enemies in like the previous scenes. Like you can see just these scenes with like 100 enemies and these demons and shit, and it goes to like literally killing some trash mobs and animals.
Yeah.
Like I'm back to the default gameplay. It's just really bizarre.
Oh, you're collecting some spider eggs, I see. That's always
you
fun.
know it.
I love
That's
collecting spider eggs.
My favorite thing in MMORPG, every MMORPG does like these weird quests where like you talk to an NPC and he says, go pick up like 10 honeydew melons from like the fruits directly next to me, and then you right click on them, you see the fucking meter fill up, and you do that 10 times. Like that is not fun. That should not be a quest. No, if you're ever designing a quest like that, it means you are designing filler content that nobody actually likes. Like stop. Just anytime you're doing that, just stop. Nobody wants that. Back to conversation on making the combat more meaningful or the gameplay more meaningful. That is the least meaningful content in any game. Literally every quest in FF14, by the way. Yeah, that describes every quest in every MMORPG. It's just filler content. Arguably, Guild Wars 2 did it best, but they did it best because they kind of hid the fact that it was a grind. It was still a grind, but it just felt, like you were always progressing towards filling these hearts, getting the full completion on map. There was a real sense of progression, and it was just a better way to fool you into doing the same repetitive task over and over again. But it just feels like other games don't even bother trying to fool you. Like they make you realize you're doing something stupid, and they don't even try hiding it.
You know what I always love? Like, okay, at least in the low level zones, it makes sense to have like a farm, and then the guy's like, well, these like spiders are on my field. Can you clear them for me, right?
Yeah.
But then like when you're level 50. And there's flying dragons around in the level 50 zone. And there's also in the middle of the zone, for some reason, there's a farmer growing like potatoes. And he's like, can you help me like kill these monsters? Yep. Like, dude, how are you alive here? There's like these giants walking around. He's like, it doesn't make sense in the high level zones.
I like Elon Strife's comment. Hey, I love this filler quest. Gathering spider eggs. I love those. Always look forward to those quests. There are lots of lore and immersion in them. Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, with lore and immersion out of the way, guys, I think this podcast time is up.
All right.
But we will be here in the post game ranting and raving. So if you're watching us on Twitch, stay put. If you're on YouTube, count your blessings. You probably won't hear more yelling about the same
bullshit.
More bullshit. All right. Take it easy, YouTube.
Later, YouTube.